Okay, so right now I'm gonna talk through the processes of the blast furnace, um, and show you how it works. But before I tell you about that, I'm gonna tell you how what the the bits and pieces are of the blast furnace. Like what's the little triangles there, what's the things to the left and the right. So I'm gonna just like quickly just tell you what all of them are. So on the left, you can see that there's a van that has an arrow showing that has iron ore, coke, and limestone. So we call that charge, which is just the inputs of the blast furnace. So that's basically the three items we need to make the pig iron, which comes out of the blast furnace. Um, so then it goes down the big blast furnace, and then it hits this part that you can see there, where it has a triangle like a small one. Then underneath that, there's an even bigger triangle, and we call that the what is it called? Sorry, yeah, we call that the double bell valve system. So we use this on the blast furnace because it helps us not waste the heat that's in the blast furnace. So what it does is when one opens, so for an example, if we let the barriers open on the smaller triangle on the top, we close the ones at the bottom, and if we close the one at the bottom, we open the one on the top. So we basically open one, we close one, and we this makes sure that we're not wasting heat or anything, which is obviously good for the environment, and obviously a lot cheaper as well. And then on the right side we have gas, so that's just like any excess gas, I'm guess like that's gonna be gone there. And refractory lining, that's just like the obviously the outside of it. And then see on the left and right we can see that there's like these tubes, you can almost call them, that has air pointing into it. So basically air goes through, like the arrows indicate the way the air goes into the blast furnace. And the tuyere is actually a French word that we use in the blast furnace. It's like a pipe connecting obviously the two things together. And then that's on both sides. And then we see on the left and right underneath the tuyere and the air, we can see there's an arrow pointing out where the slag comes out and where the molten iron, which is the pig iron. So then on the left is slag. Slag is pretty useless. It's just like the impurities, which is like sand, clay, and other things that we find when we get iron ore. So that goes out there. It's pretty useless. We can use it for like some things, but like not really. So that has its own output on that left side. On the right side, we have the pig iron, which is actually what we want. So the operation. So this is the steps of how the obviously the blast furnace works. So the first step is, as the coke burns, it produces heat and carbon monoxide gas. This gas combines with the oxygen in the ore, leaving iron. The limestone combines with the earthy impurities to form a slag. The iron and the slag fall to the bottom of the furnace. Because it's lighter, the slag floats to the top, which makes it easy for us. The iron is topped off time to time as it builds up, so every hour or so. And the slag is also topped off as it builds up as well. The molten iron is usually brought directly to steel making furnaces like basic oxygen furnace or electric arc furnace. That gives you steel. Sometimes it is cast into slabs for making cast iron, which we use in our engineering room for the vises. Um, blast furnace iron used to be called pig iron because these slabs resembled pigs. So that's the reason why it's called pig iron. And yeah, that's pretty much everything about the blast furnace. Thank you.